will not allow my decision on this vote to be dictated by pressure from my political opponents, nor the liberal interest groups from outside Arkansas that threaten me with their money and their political opposition.
Senator Lincoln of Arkansas on the floor of the Senate Saturday, leaving liberal interest groups with some tough strategic decisions to make. At what point does a Democrat become unsupportable in a primary based on their position on health care reform? And at what point does the weakened health care Senate bill become unsupportable anyway? Joining me now is Jane Hampshire, founder and publisher of FireDogLake.com, whose political action committee, Act Blue, is raising money to identify Arkansas voters who would support a primary challenger against Senator Lincoln if Lincoln filibusters the public option. Jane, I think I heard Senator Lincoln talking about you on Saturday on the floor, wasn't she?
Do you think so?
I think so.
Blanche was speaking to me?
I think so. Have you become a single-issue voter over health care reform?
I think that we can multitask. We actually circulated a letter last week signed by heads of the AFL-CIO, the SEIU, Naomi Klein, and leading economists that Alan Grayson took to the Finance Committee and whipped votes to get the bill to audit the Fed passed. So we're capable of doing more than one thing at one time. But
okay, but I mean, is it possible? I mean, if, for example, a senator were to vote not your way on health care reform, but vote the right way on troop increases, funding for troop increases on Afghanistan, or a Supreme Court justice or something like that, you'd look at the totality of the voting record and say, well, we didn't get her on health care reform, but she voted for Sonia Sotomayor, she did this, this, and this, so we're not going to try to knock her out.
Well, unfortunately, I don't really have to make that choice because the 4 senators we're looking at who are going to block the public option tend to be bad on everything. I mean, Blanche Lincoln voted against the oil and gas windfall tax. She voted to deregulate banks that led to the banking crisis, voted for the bailout, and then took tons of money from all of these interests. So her negatives in Arkansas are really strong already. She's worried about outside groups. She should be worried about inside groups that are very unhappy with her leadership. Her numbers are bad, and she may very well be looking at primary challenges.
Jane, do you worry if you helped deliver a bruising primary campaign in a state like Arkansas that you could end up, in effect, electing the Republican because you've done all this damage to both of the Democrats running in a primary?
Well, let's remember that Arkansas has 2 Democratic senators. 3 of their 4 congresspeople are Democrats. They've got a Democratic governor, and it is a strong Democratic state. So I personally think that if Blanche Lincoln has those pie of negatives right now, that what we're looking at may be a situation where a primary challenger could actually stand a stronger chance of defeating a Republican in the general than she could.
And Jane, to the bill itself, where's the cutoff point for you? Where does it become something you can't support as the amendment process goes on?
Well, Howard Dean said it today, and I would say the same thing. On June 23rd, we said if there's no public option in the final bill, we will work to defeat it. We got the signatures of 65 members of Congress who said that they would vote against any bill that doesn't have a public option. And given how many Democrats are just going to vote against anything that doesn't have any health care, we're not going to need 65 by a long shot. So.
Jane, there's another piece, the difference between the House and the Senate. The Senate does not provide any emergency funding for people who are waiting for the health care benefits to take effect in the Senate bill. That means that there are certain cancer patients out there who would be deprived of treatment while they're waiting until 2013 and 2014 for all of these health care provisions to take effect. The House has dealt with that. Do you want the Senate to deal with that?
Absolutely. You know, one of the reasons that healthcare is so personal to me is because I'm a 3-time breast cancer survivor, and it's unimaginable to me what people like the people who showed up at Keith Olbermann's healthcare clinics this weekend in Arkansas must be going through, who were diagnosed with cancer 7 years ago and haven't been able to get any kind of treatment at all. You know, Lieutenant Governor Bill Halter was there rolling up his sleeves and helping these people all day on Saturday when Blanche Lincoln was, you know, having her theatrics on the floor of the Senate saying she could not vote for a public option when at the same time her website says that she supports a public option.
Jane Hampshire, founder and publisher of FireDogLake, thanks for joining us tonight. And don't make any plans for Christmas Eve. You're going to be watching the Senate floor that night.
Thanks so much.